Hi everyone. So I'm back with clarification and testimony. So I prayed that I wouldn't have to sleep in my truck today, or last night. But and I'm sorry, I didn't really sleep. It was a very noisy night, mostly because there was cars just that kept passing by where I was parked, and it did not allow for a good night rest. And so last night, God allowed me to do a community post to give an update as to, whether or not I received the funds to stay in a hotel. I'm not sure if it's a sister or a brother. Um, I'd like to thank you for your gift. While it wasn't enough, it was a word. So, my first yes that I gave to God was when I was 7 years old. And I think I've talked a bit about this in a previous video where I talked about when I was 7 years old and the woman who raised me wanted me to go upstairs to get something for her. Now, at the top of the stairs is the light switch, and the light switch is just a little bit farther in, so it's in the dark. So the only way for you to turn on the lights upstairs is you have to go up the stairs, turn on the light at the top of the stairs. And I remember when I was a child, I could see things in the dark. I could see the things that walk in the dark. And I didn't want to go up there. I didn't want to be alone up there. I was scared. And as I was standing at the foot of the stairs, Jesus appeared. I couldn't see his face. He was too tall. I was just a child. And looking up was just... all I remember was... because he had me focus on his feet. And I remember seeing his robe, the one that goes over the tunic, or the garment that they wear. And it was like a baby blue, a powder baby blue. And I remember it looked so clean and so, it felt soft. Even though I couldn't feel it, I just knew it was soft. And he said, "Look at my feet. Do you see my feet?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "As long as you walk in my feet, you will never have to be scared of the dark, because I will be with you. Okay?" I'm like, "Okay." You know. And I said, "I will walk in your feet." And I did. I walked up those stairs, and when I got to the point where I knew I would be starting to get into the dark, and I started to freak out and want to run the other direction, I remembered what God said, to just keep walking in his feet. And I did. And I turned on the light. And from that day forward, I was never afraid of the dark anymore. I could feel the darkness wanting to make me afraid, but I didn't run. I didn't hide. That was 40 years before my 48th birthday. So this year marked 40 years since that day. So the seed you sowed on the last day of the month, the month that Father said is my freedom month. 40 years. And Sister Tara, you sowed a 2. And God goes, interesting. And I said, what's interesting? And he goes, well, doesn't that look like 24 to you? And I'm like, what do you mean by 24? And he goes, well, Tara gave you 2, and this person gave you 4. He said she, but I guess I should trust the Lord in this one, since he knows and I don't. And Dana gave me 4. And he goes, what's 2 and 4? I'm like, 24? I'm like, but they could also be 6. 6, 24. 2, 4, 6. And he's been showing me the number 2, 4, 6. And then sometimes he adds an 8. And he goes, isn't there like a cheerleading rhyme that you guys used to say when you were kids? I'm like, yeah, after we played another team on the field, we would say 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? And I'm like, I appreciate you, God. And he goes, no, dummy. I appreciate you. That's me telling you, I appreciate you. It's like, okay. But there's other significance to those numbers. And the only way that you can find out what the significance of those numbers are is by talking to God. The numbers have significance to me according to things that happened to me in my life. Just Emily had made a post about the Berlin Wall falling, and that God wanted us to look into, if we were led, God wanted us to research the Berlin Wall and its significance. The significance of the Berlin Wall, to me, is that was the same year. This was in 1989. The Berlin Wall fell on 11/9/1989. I was in San Jose, California, the day that the Bay Area earthquake hit. It was a 6.3, I believe, on the Richter scale. And the reason I call it the Bay Area earthquake is because that was the that was the day that the Bay Bridge collapsed. Now, in California, they have stacked freeways. That means that they have 2 freeway going in the same direction, but each will take you to a different place. It's really odd, but they're stacked. They're right on top of each other, and there's almost no space between. There's enough space for a car to be between the top stack and the lower stack. And these 2 stacks were on above streets and homes. And in certain parts, the collapse happened on all 3 sections. So the top collapsed to the middle, and the middle with the top on top of it, collapsed all the way to the floor, to the road, to the ground, crushing homes, cars. This happened on a Saturday because we were all home. At that time, I was taking a bath. And I was only 14. And the earthquake happened October 13. And I remember it like it was yesterday, because it shook so violently that I was actually about to get out of the bathtub when the earthquake started. And when it shook, back then they didn't have the graded tubs. They were smooth. So as soon as the tub got wet, it would be slippery and you could fall and hurt yourself. In fact, there were a lot of accidents that happened in the bathtub because people would fall trying to get out and they'd hurt themselves. And so I was standing up. I was reaching for the towel, so I was not standing firm. I was at an angle. And all of a sudden, the earth started shaking. And I lost my footing. And because the bathtub was still full. And when I take baths, I fill it up all the way to the top. I don't mess around. And as I was standing there, it shook, and I lost my footing, and I slid right under the water. And it was shaking so hard and so fast, I couldn't get my face above the water. And every part of my body was freaking out. But somehow, I received supernatural calm, because I started to think, okay, stop, relax. You can't stand up. What can you do? Okay, grab onto the side. Because at that time, I had also taken a class in swimming. I can't tread water. I can swim. It's just how it ended up happening. And I remember my training from class, where the teacher was telling us, if you can't get out of the pool, go to the edge of the pool, get there, doesn't matter how you get there, and hold on for dear life. And it will help you pull yourself up enough where you can breathe. And that's what I did. I hugged the edge of the bathtub and I pulled myself enough out of the water. It would still come up and lap over my face, but I was able to get my face out of the water enough that I could breathe. And then after a few minutes, it only took a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity. Like this earthquake was never going to stop. Finally, it slowed down as it started coming to an end. It started to slow down enough, and I pulled myself out of the water. And instead of standing up, I just threw myself over the edge of the bathtub and fell on the floor. And I was just like, okay. And sorry guys, I'm really tired. And the reason I had to record this video is because as I'm sitting here in my car, Father says, "You're mighty calm for having just slept in your car." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Do you remember the last time you were this calm?" Like, and so he reminded me of that situation. But he's using this to show you that these numbers have meaning for you. The number 12 has meaning for me. The number 3 has meaning for me. Because on March 12th of 2017, my ex-husband filed for divorce. That was the day that God granted my divorce from my ex-husband. He didn't wait until the court decided that it was time for me to be divorced. He gave me that day. And I kid you not, my ex-husband moved out of the house that we lived in on March 24th. '24. The numbers have significance according to what has happened in your life. If it's true or not for you, you have to seek the Lord. You cannot find out what things mean for you if you do not sit with Him and talk to Him like you do to a friend. And I know He said that in this new season, He would be bringing my tribe to me. And I have a feeling, Sister Tara, you are part of my tribe. Yeah, you know, I love your singing. I love your energy. You're such a happy person. You're such a even when you're scolding those that you're teaching, you still have such a happy way of doing it. So thank you. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following God. Thank you for just being you. And whenever you feel God say, don't respond, don't respond. Your peace is worth more than whatever you could respond. You know, there's something that a sister said, a prophet, a while back. This was like early in my time with God again. And she said, God will always give you time to hear Him respond. He will never make you make a decision, not a decision that needs His confirmation. If there's an opportunity that comes to you, if there is something that He told you that He wants you to receive because He's giving this to you, He will never tell you that you don't have time to confirm. Even if you have to take 30 seconds. Sometimes it's a quick confirmation, like that. Other times, it's a confirmation that He wants you to take time because He's teaching you patience. He's teaching you to wait for Him in the response. This is how He is teaching us women that when our husbands say something or do something that makes our flesh react, instead of reacting, we need to pray and we need to wait. And when we get our answer, it'll either come one of two ways, or well, God can do whatever He wants. But you will see the answer. It'll either happen with your husband changing his attitude, or coming and apologizing, or doing something to show you that God spoke to him. Or it will be a confirmation from outside of you. Like someone will come and will say something and you'll be like, that's exactly what I just asked God. Or God will respond to you directly. and give you the response that you're looking for, that you've been waiting for. But you can't have these responses, you can't have these confirmations if you're not seeking the Lord. And seeking the Lord is as easy as saying, Father, what do I do? He already knows what you're going to ask. He's already seen what he's going to tell you. You just need to trust him enough to wait for him to respond. In the name of my Lord Jesus, I pray you seek him. Amen.